Welcome back to Untold Tales. We've covered the first 20 chapters, and now it's time for the thrilling conclusion. In chapters 21 through 30, the full moon ritual nears and the story intensifies. With the climax approaching, prepare for the final twists and eerie revelations in this 30-chapter horror saga. Let's dive into the conclusion. Chapter 21, The Shadows of Legacy. The early morning sun cast a faint, golden light across the forest surrounding the cabin. Emily, Martha, and Alice were gathered around the table, analyzing their next steps after the successful neutralization of the dark artifact. Despite their progress, the looming threat of the Shadow Sovereign remained ever present. Alice turned to the book and flipped through the pages, her brow furrowed in concentration. We've dealt with the artifact, but the Shadow Sovereign's influence is still growing. We need to uncover its remaining sources of power and find a way to weaken its hold. Emily nodded. The book mentioned a hidden location tied to the Sovereign's legacy. It could be the key to understanding and dismantling its power. Martha glanced at a faded map spread across the table. This map indicates several potential sites. One of them is an old, abandoned estate not far from here. It's rumored to be a focal point for supernatural activity. They decided to investigate the estate, feeling it might provide crucial information or resources. As they prepared to leave, they packed their gear, flashlights, protective symbols, and the necessary components for any potential rituals. The estate, known as Ravenswood Manor, was situated deep within the forest. Legends spoke of its dark history and connection to the occult. The trio set off, their path winding through dense woods and overgrown trails. The air was thick with anticipation and the lingering chill of the unknown. Ravenswood Manor was a sprawling Gothic estate, shrouded in shadows and overgrown vegetation. Its once majestic architecture was now cloaked in decay. Tall, broken windows stared out like empty eyes, and the iron gates creaked on their hinges. The trio approached the manor cautiously, their steps muffled by the thick layer of fallen leaves. The front door was ajar, and they could sense an oppressive atmosphere hanging in the air. Inside, the manor was a labyrinth of dust-covered furniture, shattered glass, and cobwebs. The grand foyer, with its crumbling chandeliers and faded tapestries, exuded an aura of forgotten grandeur. The remnants of opulence were marred by the creeping rot of neglect. Emily, Martha, and Alice split up to explore different parts of the manor, each searching for clues that could lead to the Sovereign's hidden legacy. The air was thick with the smell of mildew and the faintest hint of something metallic. Emily ventured into what appeared to be a library. The room was lined with ancient bookshelves, many of them empty or broken. She scanned the shelves for anything that might hold valuable information. Martha explored the dining hall, where the remnants of a grand banquet table were scattered. She noticed strange symbols etched into the wooden panels of the walls, similar to those they had encountered before. Alice made her way to the basement, drawn by a sense of foreboding. The stairs creaked under her weight, and the basement was even darker and colder than the rest of the manor. Her flashlight beam revealed a series of old dusty crates and an old altar covered in dark stains. In the library, Emily discovered a hidden compartment behind a bookshelf. Inside, she found a dusty journal bound in worn leather. The journal was filled with handwritten notes, sketches, and diagrams related to the occult. Emily flipped through the pages, her eyes widening as she read about rituals, artifacts, and the Shadow Sovereign. The journal detailed a network of hidden chambers beneath the manor, designed for performing dark rites and summoning entities. She quickly gathered Martha and Alice, and they regrouped in the library. I found a journal detailing hidden chambers beneath the manor. It seems like there's a network of rooms used for occult rituals. Alice's eyes lit up with realization. These chambers could be the key to understanding and dismantling the Sovereign's power. We need to find a way to access them. Following the clues from the journal, they located a hidden trapdoor in the basement. The trapdoor led to a narrow staircase descending deeper into the manor's foundation. The staircase led to a series of interconnected chambers, each filled with ancient symbols and occult artifacts. The air was heavy with the scent of stale incense and decay. The walls were lined with strange carvings, depicting scenes of dark rituals and shadowy figures. As they explored the chambers, they found remnants of previous rituals, ceremonial knives, ritualistic masks, and faded tomes. The atmosphere was thick with the energy of dark magic, and the air seemed to pulse with an unsettling force. In the central chamber, they discovered an old, ornate altar adorned with dark symbols. Atop the altar was a large, intricately carved stone, possibly a key component in the sovereign's rituals. Emily approached the stone carefully, her flashlight revealing more symbols that matched those from the journal. "This stone might be connected to the sovereign's power," Emily said. "We need to analyze it and determine how to neutralize its influence." Alice examined the stone closely, noting its design and the runes etched into its surface. "The stone is likely a focal point for channeling dark energy. We'll need to perform a cleansing ritual to disrupt its power." They prepared the ritual space, drawing protective symbols around the altar and gathering the necessary components. The ritual required precise timing and coordination, and they worked diligently to set up the space. As night fell, they began the cleansing ritual. Alice led the chant, her voice steady and commanding as she recited the incantations from the book. Emily and Martha followed, their movements synchronized as they performed the ritual steps. The stone on the altar began to glow with a faint, eerie light. The shadows in the chamber seemed to writhe and twist, reacting to the ritual's energy. The oppressive atmosphere grew more intense as the ritual progressed. Suddenly, a powerful force surged through the chamber. The air crackled with energy, and the temperature dropped sharply. The protective symbols flared brightly, creating a barrier against the dark energies. The stone's glow intensified, and the shadows around them grew darker and more tumultuous. Emily, Martha, and Alice struggled to maintain their focus as they completed the ritual. The energy in the chamber was overwhelming, and the forces they were combating were fierce. With a final, powerful incantation, the ritual reached its climax. The dark energy within the stone was drawn into a containment vessel, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The shadows receded, and the room returned to a sense of calm. Emily, Martha, and Alice were exhausted but relieved. The cleansing ritual had successfully neutralized the dark energy, and the stone was now contained within the protective barrier. As dawn approached, the trio reflected on their progress. They had uncovered the hidden chambers and neutralized another source of the sovereign's power. The battle was far from over, but each victory brought them closer to their goal. Emily looked over the journal and the notes they had gathered. "We've made significant progress, but there's still more to uncover. The sovereign's influence is vast, and we need to find and neutralize its remaining sources of power." Martha and Alice agreed. "We'll need to stay vigilant and continue our preparations. The challenges ahead will test our strength and resolve." The trio made plans for their next steps, determined to continue their fight against the Shadow Sovereign. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they prepared for the next phase of their mission, Emily, Martha, and Alice took comfort in their recent successes. They had faced powerful forces and emerged victorious, but the Shadow Sovereign's threat remained a looming and formidable challenge. Chapter 22: The Forgotten Village. After their success at Ravenswood, Emily, Martha, and Alice gathered at the cabin to discuss their next move. The journal from the manor had mentioned a forgotten village tied to the Shadow Sovereign's history, hinting that it might hold vital clues about the Sovereign's remaining sources of power. Emily reviewed the notes they had taken. According to the journal, there's an old village called Blackthorn that was abandoned decades ago. It's mentioned in connection with the Sovereign's early rituals and might be crucial to understanding its remaining influence. Martha, intrigued by the mention of the village, asked, "What do we know about Blackthorn?" Alice checked her notes and added, "From what I've gathered, Blackthorn was once a thriving community but was abandoned after a series of mysterious events and unexplained disappearances. It's now rumored to be a place of great supernatural activity." The trio decided to investigate Blackthorn. They packed their gear, flashlights, protective symbols, and tools for exploration, and set out for the forgotten village, determined to uncover what secrets it might hold. The journey to Blackthorn took them through winding roads and dense forests. The further they traveled, the more isolated the surroundings became. The air grew colder, and a dense fog began to roll in, adding to the sense of foreboding. As they arrived at the village, the sight was both eerie and haunting. Blackthorn was a ghostly remnant of its former self. Abandoned houses, overgrown with vines and moss, stood in eerie silence. The streets were littered with debris, and the occasional gust of wind rustled through the empty buildings, creating an unsettling atmosphere. Emily, Martha, and Alice parked their vehicle at the village's entrance and approached the main street. The once bustling town was now a labyrinth of decaying structures and overgrown vegetation. They could feel an oppressive energy lingering in the air, a sense of something dark and ancient that had settled over the village. Emily led the way, her flashlight cutting through the thick fog. "We should start by exploring the old town hall. It might have records or documents that could provide us with more information about what happened here." The trio made their way to the town hall, a large, imposing building that loomed over the village. The structure was in disrepair, with broken windows and a crumbling facade. The heavy wooden doors creaked open as they pushed through. Inside, the town hall was a dimly lit cavern of dust and decay. Papers and old documents were scattered across the floor, and the furniture was covered in layers of grime. The air was thick with the smell of mildew and rot. Emily and Martha began searching through the documents, hoping to find anything related to the village's history or the mysterious events that led to its abandonment. Alice examined the old maps and blueprints pinned to the walls, looking for any clues about hidden locations or significant sites. Among the documents, Emily found a series of journals and ledgers detailing the village's history. One journal, in particular, caught her attention. It belonged to the village's former mayor and detailed a series of strange occurrences leading up to the village's abandonment. The mayor's journal described a growing sense of unease among the villagers, unexplained phenomena and sightings of shadowy figures. It mentioned a secret ritual performed in the village's church, which the mayor believed was linked to the dark forces that plagued Blackthorn. Emily shared the journal with Martha and Alice. "This journal mentions a secret ritual performed in the village's church. We should investigate the church. It might be the key to understanding what happened here." The old church was situated on a hill overlooking the village. Its steeple, now crooked and decayed, stood as a solitary sentinel over the desolation below. The building appeared even more ominous in the fading light of dusk. As they approached the church, the fog thickened and the temperature dropped. The front doors of the church were partially ajar, and a heavy silence hung in the air. Inside, the church was a stark contrast to its former grandeur. The once beautiful stained glass windows were shattered, and the wooden pews were rotting. The altar at the front was covered in dust and cobwebs, and the air felt heavy with an unsettling presence. Emily, Martha, and Alice made their way to the altar. Emily's flashlight revealed strange symbols etched into the floor, similar to those they had encountered before. The symbols formed a complex pattern, and a large ornate tome lay open on the altar. Alice examined the tome, her eyes widening as she read the inscriptions. This book contains rituals and incantations related to dark entities. It looks like this was used in the ritual that led to the village's downfall. The tome detailed a ritual designed to summon and control dark forces. The ritual required the use of specific artifacts and ingredients, many of which matched the items they had encountered in their previous investigations. Emily, Martha, and Alice realized that the church had been a focal point for the dark energies that had plagued Blackthorn. The ritual performed here had likely amplified the Shadow Sovereign's influence, leading to the village's abandonment and the supernatural disturbances. As they continued to explore the church, the temperature dropped further, and a chilling breeze swept through the building. Shadows seemed to move and twist, reacting to their presence. The oppressive atmosphere grew more intense, and the trio could feel the weight of the dark energy pressing in on them. Suddenly, a low, guttural sound echoed through the church. The floor beneath them began to tremble, and the symbols on the floor glowed with an eerie light. The shadows around them coalesced into dark, swirling shapes, creating a nightmarish landscape. Emily, Martha, and Alice were surrounded by spectral figures, their forms shifting and flickering in the dim light. The apparitions appeared to be the restless souls of the villagers who had been caught in the ritual's aftermath. The figures moved toward the altar, their eyes filled with a mix of anger and sorrow. The apparitions seemed to be trying to communicate something, their ghostly forms reaching out toward the tome on the altar. Emily, recognizing the urgency of the situation, approached the altar and began reciting the cleansing incantations from the journal. Her voice echoed through the church, cutting through the oppressive energy and calming the restless spirits. The shadows began to recede, and the temperature started to rise. The apparitions gradually faded, their forms dissolving into the air. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the church returned to its former state of eerie silence. With the spirits at rest and the dark energy subdued, Emily, Martha, and Alice reflected on their findings. The church had been a crucial site in the Shadow Sovereign's rituals, and their actions had helped to alleviate some of the lingering darkness. Emily looked at the tome and the journal. We've learned a lot about the Shadow Sovereign's influence and its connection to Blackthorn. There's still much more to uncover, but this was an important step forward. Martha and Alice agreed. We need to continue our investigation and find the remaining sources of the Sovereign's power. Each piece of the puzzle brings us closer to understanding and defeating it. As they prepared to leave Blackthorn, the trio felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced powerful forces and uncovered crucial information, but the battle against the Shadow Sovereign was far from over. They knew that their journey was only beginning, and that they needed to stay vigilant and determined in their fight against the dark entity. Emily, Martha, and Alice departed from the Forgotten Village, ready to face the challenges ahead and continue their quest to dismantle the Shadow Sovereign's influence. Chapter 23. The Keeper of Secrets. After leaving Blackthorn, Emily, Martha, and Alice regrouped at their cabin. The recent discovery of the village's dark past had revealed a new layer to their fight against the Shadow Sovereign. Despite their successes, they knew that many challenges remained ahead. As they reviewed their findings, Alice's gaze fell on a cryptic note she had found in the mayor's journal from Blackthorn. The note was a reference to an ancient keeper of knowledge who might have vital information about the Sovereign's remaining sources of power. The note mentioned a secluded location called the Enclave of Echoes, reputed to be guarded by a mysterious figure known only as the Keeper. Emily read aloud from the note. The Enclave of Echoes is said to be hidden deep within the mountains. The Keeper is rumored to possess knowledge about the Sovereign's origins and its vulnerabilities. Martha, intrigued, suggested, if we can find this enclave and meet the Keeper, we might gain crucial insights into defeating the Sovereign. Determined, the trio prepared for another journey, gathering supplies and setting out towards the mountains. They knew this would be one of their most challenging expeditions yet, given the Enclave's reputed isolation and the enigmatic nature of its guardian. The journey to the Enclave of Echoes took them through rugged terrain and treacherous paths. The air grew colder and thinner as they ascended the mountains. They followed a series of ancient symbols carved into stone markers, leading them towards the hidden location. After hours of hiking, the fog began to lift, revealing a hidden valley nestled between steep mountain peaks. The Enclave of Echoes lay before them, an ancient stone structure partially covered in ivy and moss. The building was an architectural marvel, with intricate carvings and symbols etched into its facade. The trio approached the enclave cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the quiet valley. The entrance was a massive archway flanked by two stone statues that seemed to watch their every move. As they stepped inside, they were greeted by a large, dimly lit chamber filled with ancient scrolls, tomes, and artifacts. The air was heavy with the scent of aged parchment and incense. Emily, Martha, and Alice marveled at the vast collection of knowledge surrounding them. The walls were lined with shelves containing books and scrolls, and the floor was covered in intricate patterns and symbols. As they explored the enclave, a soft, eerie glow emanated from a raised platform at the center of the chamber. The Keeper of Secrets, a tall figure draped in flowing robes, emerged from the shadows. Their face was obscured by a hood, and their presence was both imposing and serene. The Keeper spoke in a voice that resonated with an otherworldly calm. "Welcome to the Enclave of Echoes. I am the Keeper. Few have ventured here, and fewer still have sought knowledge of the Shadow Sovereign. Emily stepped forward, her voice steady. We've been fighting the Shadow Sovereign and have learned much, but we need more information about its origins and how to weaken it. The Mayor's Journal from Blackthorn led us here. The Keeper nodded slowly, acknowledging their quest. The Shadow Sovereign is an ancient entity born from a dark pact made long ago. It thrives on fear, pain, and the suffering of those it preys upon. Its power is drawn from the collective darkness of humanity. Martha, intrigued, asked, "What can we do to weaken it and ultimately defeat it?" The Keeper gestured to the scrolls and tomes around them. The Sovereign's power is tied to a series of artifacts and rituals performed throughout history. To weaken it, you must seek out these artifacts and disrupt the rituals that sustain its power. Only by doing so can you hope to diminish its influence. Emily, feeling a surge of determination, asked, "Can you help us find these artifacts and provide guidance on how to disrupt the rituals?" The Keeper nodded and moved to a large, ornate book on a pedestal. The book was ancient and bound in dark leather, its pages filled with complex diagrams and incantations. This tome contains knowledge about the Sovereign's artifacts and the rituals associated with them. Study it carefully. Each artifact is hidden and protected by dark forces. You must approach them with caution and resolve. The Keeper handed the book to Emily. You have proven your commitment to this cause. Use this knowledge wisely and proceed with the knowledge that you are not alone in this fight. The balance of power between light and dark is delicate, and your actions will tip the scales. The trio spent hours in the Enclave, poring over the ancient tome. The book detailed the locations of several key artifacts and the rituals that needed to be disrupted. Each artifact was described in detail, and including its history and the protective measures guarding it. Emily noted the locations on a map, which indicated that their next destinations included a remote ancient ruin, a hidden underground chamber, and a sacred grove deep in the forest. The book also provided detailed instructions for performing counter rituals to neutralize the dark energies associated with each artifact. As they studied, the Keeper remained a silent presence, observing their progress with a calm demeanor. When they were finished, Emily, Martha, and Alice thanked the Keeper for their assistance. The Keeper offered a final piece of advice. Remember, the Sovereign feeds on fear and despair. Strengthen your resolve and maintain your unity. The path ahead will be fraught with danger, but your courage and determination will guide you. With that, the Keeper vanished into the shadows, leaving the trio alone in the Enclave. They gathered their belongings and prepared to leave, their minds filled with the knowledge and responsibilities they had gained. As they descended the mountains, Emily, Martha, and Alice discussed their next steps. The knowledge from the Keeper had provided them with a clearer path forward, but the challenges ahead were formidable. Emily looked at the map and the tome. Our next steps involve locating and neutralizing the artifacts. Each one is guarded by dark forces, so we need to be prepared for anything. Martha agreed. We should prioritize our targets and gather any additional resources or allies that might help us in our quest. Alice added, We'll need to remain vigilant and adaptable. The Sovereign's influence is pervasive, and it won't be easy to overcome. As they prepared for their next journey, the trio felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had gained valuable knowledge and guidance from the Keeper, and they were ready to face the challenges ahead. The fight against the Shadow Sovereign was far from over, but with each step, they grew closer to their ultimate goal. Chapter 24, The Cursed Ruins. With newfound knowledge from the Keeper of Secrets, Emily, Martha, and Alice set out for their first target, the remote ruins mentioned in the tome. The ruins were believed to be the resting place of one of the Sovereign's key artifacts, a relic tied to the Sovereign's dark power. The journey took them deep into an uncharted region of the wilderness. As they traveled, the terrain became increasingly rugged, and the forest grew denser. The atmosphere was thick with a sense of foreboding, and the trio could feel the weight of the Sovereign's influence pressing upon them. Emily consulted the map frequently, navigating through the dense foliage and rocky paths. We should be close to the ruins. According to the tome, they're situated in a valley surrounded by ancient trees and rock formations. Martha, keeping an eye on their surroundings, added, We need to stay alert. The sovereign's dark forces may have set up defenses around the ruins to protect the artifact. Alice, carrying a backpack filled with essential supplies and protective symbols, nodded. We're prepared for whatever we might encounter. Let's make sure we stay focused and follow the directions in the tome. As they approached the designated area, the forest canopy parted to reveal a hidden valley. The ruins emerged from the shadows, partially concealed by overgrowth and natural erosion. The ancient structures were crumbling, with weathered stone walls and broken columns standing amidst the dense underbrush. The ruins were a haunting sight, their once majestic architecture now reduced to a series of dilapidated remnants. Strange symbols and carvings adorned the stones, indicating the presence of dark rituals and ancient magic. Emily, Martha, and Alice made their way carefully through the ruins, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. They followed the map's instructions, searching for the specific location where the artifact was said to be hidden. After a thorough exploration, they discovered a set of stairs leading down into an underground chamber. The entrance was partially obscured by rubble and vegetation, but the markings on the walls matched those described in the tome. Emily, holding up her flashlight, illuminated the dark staircase. This must be it. The artifact should be hidden within this chamber. Martha, bracing herself, nodded. Let's proceed with caution. We don't know what kind of defenses or traps might be set up down there. The trio descended into the chamber, their flashlights casting eerie shadows on the walls. The underground space was vast, with high ceilings and stone columns that seemed to support an ancient, forgotten structure. At the center of the chamber was an ornate pedestal upon which rested a covered artifact. The pedestal was surrounded by a complex array of symbols and runes, all glowing faintly with a sinister light. As they approached the pedestal, a sudden gust of cold air swept through the chamber, causing the shadows to writhe and dance. The atmosphere grew heavy, and an oppressive energy filled the space. Emily examined the symbols on the pedestal and the surrounding floor. These symbols appear to be part of a protective ward. We need to disrupt it before we can retrieve the artifact. Martha, pulling out a set of protective symbols and incantations from their supplies, began preparing a counter-ritual to neutralize the ward. Alice assisted, carefully following the instructions and placing the symbols in the correct positions. As they worked, the chamber seemed to come alive with a dark presence. The temperature dropped further, and a series of low, ominous growls echoed through the chamber. Shadows coalesced into menacing forms, moving toward the trio with malevolent intent. The shadows materialized into ghostly figures, their eyes glowing with an eerie, malevolent light. They were the Shadow Guardians, ancient protectors bound to the artifact and the chamber's dark energies. Emily, Martha, and Alice prepared to face the Guardians. Emily, chanting the counter-ritual incantations, created a protective barrier around them. Martha and Alice wielded their tools and symbols to fend off the shadowy attackers. The battle was fierce. The Shadow Guardians attacked with relentless fury, their forms shifting and dissolving into darkness before reforming. The trio fought bravely, using their knowledge and protective symbols to push back against the dark forces. Emily, maintaining her focus, continued to recite the counter-ritual. We need to keep the Guardians at bay while we neutralize the ward. Martha and Alice, working in tandem, used their tools to disrupt the symbols on the pedestal. They carefully dismantled the protective ward, their movements precise and deliberate. As the last symbol was removed, the shadows around them began to waver and dissipate. The oppressive energy in the chamber lessened, and the Shadow Guardians' attacks became less frequent. Emily, Martha, and Alice took advantage of the opportunity to approach the pedestal. Emily reached out and carefully uncovered the artifact, a small, intricately carved box adorned with ancient symbols. The box was made of an unknown, dark material that seemed to absorb light. The symbols carved into its surface were similar to those they had seen throughout their journey, indicating its connection to the Shadow Sovereign. Emily carefully examined the box. This artifact is likely a key component of the Sovereign's power. We need to handle it with extreme caution. Alice, her eyes wide with curiosity, asked, "What do we do with it?" Martha, checking the tome for guidance, replied, "We need to take it to a safe location and perform a sealing ritual to neutralize its dark energies. The tome should have instructions for how to handle it. As they prepared to leave the chamber, the trio took one last look at the ruins. The dark presence that had haunted the chamber seemed to recede, leaving behind an eerie calm. Emerging from the ruins, Emily, Martha, and Alice were relieved to be back in the open air. The journey back through the forest was fraught with tension, but they managed to navigate the path safely. At their cabin, they set up a ritual space to handle the artifact. Using the instructions from the tome, they performed a series of incantations and protections to neutralize the dark energies associated with the artifact. The sealing ritual was complex, involving several steps and precise movements. Emily, Martha, and Alice worked together, focusing their energy and intent to ensure the ritual was performed correctly. As the ritual concluded, the artifact was safely sealed and placed in a protective container. The dark energy that had emanated from it was contained, reducing its influence. With the artifact secured, the trio reflected on their progress. The journey to the ruins had been arduous, but their efforts had yielded significant results. They had successfully retrieved one of the Shadow Sovereign's key artifacts and neutralized its dark energies. Emily, looking at the map and the remaining targets, said, "We've made great progress, but there's still much to do. We need to continue our search for the remaining artifacts and disrupt the Sovereign's remaining rituals." Martha agreed. "Each step brings us closer to our goal. We've faced powerful forces and come out stronger. We need to stay focused and determined." Alice added, "Our next destination will be crucial. Let's prepare thoroughly and continue our fight against the Sovereign." As they prepared for their next journey, the trio felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced formidable challenges and made significant strides in their battle against the Shadow Sovereign. With each step, they grew closer to their ultimate goal of defeating the dark entity and restoring balance. Chapter 25, The Hidden Chamber. The successful retrieval of the artifact from the cursed ruins marked a significant milestone in Emily, Martha, and Alice's quest. With the artifact secured and its dark energies neutralized, the trio prepared for their next challenge. The tome from the Keeper had mentioned a hidden chamber located in an ancient, long-abandoned library. This library, buried beneath the layers of time and history, was believed to hold another crucial artifact tied to the Shadow Sovereign. As they made their way to the location described in the tome, Emily, Martha, and Alice reflected on the gravity of their mission. The secluded library was reputed to be well hidden, and finding it would be a challenge in itself. Emily reviewed their map and the notes from the tome. The library is said to be located beneath the old city of Valeria, which was abandoned centuries ago. We need to find the entrance and navigate through the underground ruins. Martha, looking at the dense forest that surrounded them, added, "Valeria is reputed to be difficult to find. We should be cautious of traps or any lingering defenses meant to protect the library." Alice, clutching the protective symbols and tools they had used before, nodded. "We've come this far. We need to remain vigilant and prepared for anything that might come our way." The journey to Valeria took them through a series of remote, overgrown paths. As they approached the city's ruins, the landscape transformed from dense forest to open terrain scattered with the remains of ancient structures. The once majestic city of Valeria was now a ghostly reminder of a bygone era, with crumbling buildings and overgrown vegetation. Emily, Martha, and Alice followed the map's directions and located the entrance to the underground library. It was concealed beneath a large, partially collapsed building, hidden by rubble and vegetation. The entrance was a heavy, iron-bound door embedded in the ground, covered in intricate carvings and symbols. Alice, examining the door, said, "This must be the entrance. According to the tome, it should be sealed with ancient wards. We need to find a way to bypass them." Emily, studying the carvings, added, "The symbols here match those from the tome. We need to carefully dismantle the wards to gain access." Using their tools and knowledge from the tome, the trio began the process of deactivating the ancient wards. The door creaked open, revealing a dark, narrow staircase descending into the depths of the library. The underground library was vast, with high ceilings and rows of long-forgotten bookshelves. Dust motes floated in the dim light, and the air was thick with the scent of aged paper and decay. The library was filled with ancient scrolls, tomes, and manuscripts, some of which had been meticulously preserved while others were in a state of disrepair. As they ventured further into the library, Emily, Martha, and Alice noticed that the space was divided into sections, each dedicated to different areas of knowledge. The central area of the library was dominated by a large, ornate pedestal, which held a covered artifact similar to the one they had retrieved from the cursed ruins. Emily approached the pedestal, examining the surrounding area. This must be the location of the second artifact. We need to carefully assess the situation and ensure there are no traps or dark forces guarding it. Martha, checking the tome for additional information, noted, "The tome mentioned that this library was a repository of forbidden knowledge. We should expect powerful wards and possibly even residual dark energies." Alice, holding a protective charm, added, "Let's proceed with caution and be prepared for anything." As they neared the pedestal, a low hum filled the air, and a series of glowing runes appeared on the floor, forming a complex pattern around the artifact. The runes emitted a dark, pulsating energy that seemed to react to their presence. Emily, studying the runes, said, "These runes are part of a powerful ward designed to protect the artifact. We need to disrupt the pattern and neutralize the dark energy before we can safely access it." Martha and Alice began working to disrupt the ward's pattern, using their protective symbols and incantations. The process was intricate and required precise movements. As they worked, the dark energy around the runes intensified, and shadowy figures began to materialize. The shadowy figures, resembling spectral librarians with dark, malevolent eyes, moved towards the trio. They were the guardians of the library, bound to protect the forbidden knowledge from intruders. Emily, preparing to defend against the guardians, said, "We need to hold them off while Martha and Alice finish neutralizing the wards." Martha and Alice continued their work, chanting incantations and placing protective symbols in key locations. The shadowy guardians attacked with dark, spectral energy, their forms shifting and flickering with malevolent intent. Emily and Alice fought bravely, using their knowledge and tools to repel the guardians. The battle was fierce, and the library's atmosphere grew even more oppressive as the guardians' attacks became more relentless. With the wards successfully disrupted and the guardians pushed back, Emily, Martha, and Alice approached the pedestal. The dark energy around the artifact had subsided, allowing them to safely uncover it. Emily carefully lifted the covering from the pedestal, revealing an ancient, intricately carved box similar to the one they had previously secured. The new artifact was adorned with symbols that matched those found in the library's texts. Martha examined the artifact. "This is definitely one of the Sovereign's key artifacts. We need to handle it with care and perform the necessary rituals to neutralize its dark energies." Using the instructions from the tome, the trio set up a ritual space within the library. They performed a series of protective incantations and rituals to neutralize the dark energies associated with the artifact. The process was meticulous and required a high level of concentration. As they completed the ritual, the dark energy from the artifact was contained and its influence was diminished. The artifact was safely secured in a protective container, and the library's oppressive atmosphere began to lift. With the artifact secured and the library's dark energies contained, Emily, Martha, and Alice took a moment to reflect on their progress. The journey to the hidden chamber had been challenging, but they had successfully retrieved another crucial artifact and neutralized its dark influence. Emily, looking at the remaining tasks on their map, said, "We've made significant progress, but there's still more to do. We need to continue our search for the remaining artifacts and disrupt the Sovereign's remaining rituals." Martha agreed. "Each step we take brings us closer to our goal. We've faced formidable challenges and come out stronger. Let's stay focused and prepared for whatever comes next." Alice added, "We've learned a lot from each of our encounters. Our knowledge and experience will guide us in the next phase of our quest." As they prepared to leave the library and continue their journey, the trio felt a renewed sense of determination. They had faced powerful dark forces and emerged victorious, bringing them closer to their ultimate goal of defeating the Shadow Sovereign and restoring balance. Chapter 26, The Enigmatic Watcher. With the second artifact secured and its dark energies neutralized, Emily, Martha, and Alice regrouped at their base camp. The successful retrieval of the artifact from the hidden chamber had brought them closer to their goal, but the battle was far from over. They needed to locate and secure the remaining artifacts to thwart the Shadow Sovereign's plans. While reviewing the tome, Emily discovered a new lead. An ancient text hinted at the existence of a mysterious figure known as the Enigmatic Watcher, who was said to hold crucial information about the Sovereign's remaining artifacts. The Enigmatic Watcher is rumored to reside in a secluded location deep within the misty highlands, Emily said, pointing to a marked location on their map. According to the tome, this Watcher has knowledge about the Sovereign's plans and the whereabouts of the remaining artifacts. Martha, who had been examining the map, added, "The misty highlands are notorious for their treacherous terrain and mysterious fog. Finding this Watcher will be a challenge, but it could provide us with the critical information we need." Alice, preparing their supplies, noted, "We should expect the unexpected. The Watcher is said to be a reclusive and enigmatic figure, so we need to be prepared for any sort of encounter." The journey to the Misty Highlands took the trio through a series of rugged landscapes. The terrain became increasingly difficult, with steep hills, dense fog, and unpredictable weather. The Misty Highlands were notorious for their treacherous conditions, and the trio had to navigate carefully. As they ascended the highlands, the fog thickened, obscuring their vision and adding to the sense of isolation. The air grew colder, and the environment became more foreboding. Emily, peering through the dense fog, said, "We need to be cautious. The mist can be disorienting, and we might encounter unforeseen obstacles." Martha, leading the way with a compass and map, added, "We should stick together and follow the directions carefully. The Watcher's location is supposed to be in a secluded area, so we need to keep our eyes open for any clues." Alice, keeping a sharp lookout, said, "I'll be on the lookout for any signs of the Watcher's presence. We should also be prepared for any potential threats." After several hours of navigating through the mist, the trio arrived at a clearing in the highlands. The fog parted to reveal a hidden ancient structure partially covered by overgrowth. The building appeared to be a long-abandoned temple or observatory, with stone pillars and intricate carvings adorning its exterior. Emily approached the entrance, noting the runes and symbols carved into the stone. This structure fits the description of the Watcher's lair. We should proceed with caution. Martha, examining the area, added, "There may be traps or wards protecting the entrance. Let's be careful and look for any signs of magical defenses." Alice, stepping forward, noticed a series of symbols etched into the ground near the entrance. These symbols look like they could be part of a protective ward. We should disarm them before entering. Using their knowledge of ancient symbols and wards, the trio carefully deactivated the protective barriers around the entrance. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. Inside the lair, the atmosphere was heavy with an ancient mystical energy. The room was filled with arcane artifacts, scrolls, and strange devices, all meticulously arranged. At the center of the room was a large, ornate desk with an ancient tome resting on it. A figure emerged from the shadows, a tall, cloaked individual with an enigmatic presence. The figure's face was obscured by a hood, and their eyes glowed with a mysterious, ethereal light. "Welcome, seekers," the figure said in a voice that echoed with an otherworldly resonance. "I have been expecting you." Emily stepped forward cautiously. "You must be the Enigmatic Watcher. We seek information about the Shadow Sovereign and the remaining artifacts." The Watcher regarded them with a piercing gaze. "The Sovereign's influence extends far and wide. What you seek is not easily obtained. The path you follow is fraught with danger and deception." Martha, feeling the weight of the Watcher's words, asked, "What can you tell us about the remaining artifacts and the Sovereign's plans?" The Watcher gestured to the tome on the desk. "The answers you seek lie within this tome. It contains ancient knowledge about the Sovereign's plans and the locations of the remaining artifacts. However, gaining this knowledge will not be easy. The tome is protected by powerful wards and enchantments." Emily approached the tome, noticing the intricate runes and symbols etched into its cover. "We need to access the knowledge within this tome, but it's protected by powerful enchantments. How can we bypass them?" The Watcher, observing their determination, said, "To access the tome's knowledge, you must prove yourselves worthy. The tome will present you with a series of challenges, each designed to test your resolve and understanding. Martha, feeling a mix of apprehension and resolve, said, "We are ready. We've faced many challenges already. We'll do whatever it takes to obtain the information we need." The Watcher nodded and stepped aside, allowing them to approach the tome. As Emily, Martha, and Alice began their attempt to unlock the tome's secrets, a series of magical wards and enchantments activated. The room was filled with swirling lights and shifting symbols. The trials presented by the tome were both mental and physical. The trio faced a series of challenges designed to test their knowledge, courage, and teamwork. Each challenge was more complex and demanding than the last. 1. The puzzle of knowledge. The first challenge involved solving an intricate puzzle composed of ancient symbols and runes. Emily, with her deep understanding of the tome's contents, led the effort to decode the symbols and align them correctly. Number 2. The test of courage. The second challenge manifested as a series of illusions and phantasms that tested their courage and resolve. Martha and Alice faced their deepest fears and anxieties, overcoming them through sheer determination and bravery. 3. The trial of unity. The final challenge required the trio to work together to navigate a shifting maze filled with traps and obstacles. Their ability to communicate and support each other was crucial to their success. As they completed each trial, the wards around the tome gradually dissipated. The tome's protective enchantments were lifted, allowing them to access its contents. With the trials completed, the tome opened, revealing detailed information about the Shadow Sovereign's remaining artifacts and plans. The tome contained maps, descriptions, and instructions for locating and securing the artifacts. Emily carefully examined the tome's contents. The tome provides us with crucial information about the remaining artifacts and their locations. We have detailed maps and descriptions that will guide us in our quest. The Watcher, observing their success, said, "You have proven your worthiness. Use this knowledge wisely, for the path ahead will be perilous. The Sovereign's influence is strong, and you will face many challenges." Martha, expressing gratitude, replied, "Thank you for your guidance. We will use the information to continue our fight against the Shadow Sovereign and protect the world from his dark influence." Alice, preparing to leave, added, "We've gained valuable insights and tools for our journey. We'll be ready for the challenges that lie ahead." With the tome's knowledge in hand, Emily, Martha, and Alice prepared to leave the Watcher's lair. They felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination, knowing that they had taken a significant step forward in their quest. Emily, reviewing the new information, said, "We have a clear path forward. The remaining artifacts are within our reach, and we now have the knowledge to locate and secure them." Martha agreed. "Our journey has just become more focused. We need to stay vigilant and be prepared for the challenges that lie ahead." Alice, reflecting on their experience, added, "We've learned a lot and grown stronger as a team. Let's use our new knowledge to continue our fight against the Sovereign." As they left the misty highlands and continued their journey, the trio was ready to confront the remaining challenges and work toward their ultimate goal of defeating the Shadow Sovereign. Chapter 27. The Cursed Village. Emily, Martha, and Alice, equipped with the knowledge from the enigmatic Watcher's tome, set their course for the next artifact. Their path led them to an ancient and secluded village known as Black Hollow, a place rumored to be cursed and shrouded in supernatural phenomena. The tome had pointed them here, indicating that the artifact they sought was hidden within the village. As they approached Black Hollow, the sky grew darker, and an unsettling chill filled the air. The village came into view through a thick veil of fog, its dilapidated buildings and overgrown vegetation creating an eerie and desolate atmosphere. The village appeared frozen in time with empty streets and silent houses. Emily, looking at the encroaching fog, said, "This place has an unsettling feel to it." The tome mentioned that the artifact is hidden here, but it didn't provide much detail about the village's curse. Martha, eyeing the darkened landscape, added, "We should proceed with caution. There's a palpable sense of dread here, and the village's curse might be more than just superstition." Alice, glancing around, said, "Let's stick together and keep a close watch. We need to find the artifact and get out of here as quickly as possible." As the trio ventured into Black Hollow, they noticed that the village seemed deserted, with no sign of life or activity. The once vibrant community had fallen into decay, with crumbling buildings, shattered windows, and overgrown gardens. The air was thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. They began their search at the village's center, where an old clock tower loomed over them. The clock's hands were frozen at midnight, adding to the sense of timelessness and foreboding. Emily approached the clock tower, noting the ancient carvings and inscriptions on its base. This clock tower might be significant. The tome mentioned that the artifact could be hidden in a place of importance within the village. Martha, examining the surrounding area, said, "Let's explore the tower and see if there are any clues or hidden compartments." Alice, scanning the area for any signs of danger, added, "Be careful. This village's curse might manifest in unexpected ways." As they explored the clock tower, they discovered a hidden door beneath the clock's base. The door creaked open, revealing a dark staircase leading down into the depths of the tower. The air grew colder, and a sense of unease settled over them. Descending the staircase, they entered a subterranean chamber filled with ancient artifacts and relics. At the center of the chamber was a large, ornate chest, its surface adorned with intricate symbols and runes. Emily, inspecting the chest, said, "This must be it. The artifact we're looking for is likely inside this chest." As they prepared to open the chest, a sudden chill filled the chamber. The shadows seemed to writhe and twist, taking on eerie forms. An otherworldly wail echoed through the chamber, and the temperature dropped further. Martha, feeling a surge of anxiety, said, "Something's not right. The curse must be affecting the environment around us." Alice, her senses on high alert, added, "We need to stay focused. We can't let the curse distract us from our objective." With a deep breath, Emily approached the chest and began to unlock it. As the lid creaked open, a swirling mist emanated from within, and the chamber was bathed in a ghostly glow. Inside the chest lay the artifact, a beautifully crafted amulet with a shimmering gem at its center. The gem radiated a powerful energy that seemed to resonate with the room's dark atmosphere. Emily carefully lifted the amulet, feeling its energy pulse in her hand. "This is it, the artifact we've been searching for." As she held the amulet, the chamber's shadows began to coalesce into spectral figures. The ghostly apparitions seemed to be drawn to the artifact's power, their wails growing louder. Martha, gripping her staff tightly, said, "We need to protect ourselves from these spirits. The curse is amplifying their presence." Alice, preparing for a confrontation, added, "We need to find a way to dispel the curse and secure the artifact." The trio began to focus their efforts on dispelling the spirits and breaking the curse's hold. They used their knowledge and skills to counteract the spectral forces and neutralize the curse's effects. As they worked to dispel the spirits, they discovered an old journal among the artifacts in the chamber. The journal contained entries detailing the village's tragic history. The entries revealed that Black Hollow had once been a thriving community, but a series of unfortunate events had led to its downfall. A plague had ravaged the village, and in a desperate attempt to save themselves, the villagers had turned to dark rituals. These rituals had summoned malevolent entities, leading to the village's curse. Emily read aloud from the journal, "The villagers' desperation and the dark rituals they performed have bound their souls to this place. Their spirits are restless and seeking release." Martha, reflecting on the journal's contents, said, "We need to find a way to release the spirits and break the curse. The artifact might be the key to setting things right." Alice, nodding in agreement, added, "Let's use the knowledge from the journal to find a solution. We need to put an end to the curse and free the trapped souls." Using the information from the journal, the trio performed a ritual to release the trapped spirits and break the curse. They followed the instructions carefully, using the artifact to channel their efforts and dispel the malevolent forces. As the ritual progressed, the chamber's temperature returned to normal, and the ghostly apparitions began to fade. The village's oppressive atmosphere lifted, and a sense of peace settled over the area. Emily, feeling a sense of relief, said, "The spirits are being released. We've managed to break the curse and secure the artifact." Martha, observing the changes, added, "The village seems to be returning to a state of calm. We've done what we came here to do. Alice, reflecting on their experience, said, "We've faced a significant challenge, but we've succeeded. Let's prepare to leave and continue our journey." As the trio prepared to leave Black Hollow, they noticed that the village's atmosphere had changed. The once foreboding streets were now quiet and peaceful, and the fog had lifted, revealing a serene landscape. Emily, looking back at the village, said, "The curse has been lifted. The village can finally rest in peace." Martha, feeling a sense of accomplishment, added, "We've achieved another important milestone in our quest. Let's move forward and use the artifact to aid us in our fight against the Shadow Sovereign." Alice, ready to continue their journey, said, "We've gained valuable insights and secured another artifact. We're one step closer to our goal." As they left Black Hollow behind, the trio felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The challenges they faced had strengthened their resolve, and they were prepared to confront the remaining trials ahead. Chapter 28, The Enigma of the Forgotten Manor. With the artifact from Black Hollow secured, Emily, Martha, and Alice resumed their quest, driven by the urgency to find and retrieve the remaining artifacts that were crucial to their mission. The next destination revealed by the tome was a forgotten manor nestled deep within a dense forest. The manor, known as Ravenswood House, was rumored to be both a repository of ancient secrets and a trap for the unwary. The trio traveled for days, their path winding through increasingly thick and dark forest, their surroundings growing colder as they neared their destination. The atmosphere was heavy with a palpable sense of foreboding. The trees, twisted and gnarled, seemed to whisper secrets in the wind, and the underbrush was thick with shadowy forms. Alice, glancing at the darkening sky, said, "We're getting close." The tome mentioned that Ravenswood House is concealed by a powerful illusion designed to keep intruders at bay. Emily, peering through the dense foliage, added, "We need to stay alert. This place is known for its malevolent defenses and tricky enchantments." Martha, checking their surroundings, said, "Let's move carefully. We don't know what kind of dangers await us." As they ventured deeper into the forest, they suddenly came upon the entrance to Ravenswood House. The manor stood ominously, its Gothic architecture looming like a dark sentinel against the twilight sky. Its once grand facade was now overgrown with ivy, and broken windows stared out like vacant eyes. The entrance was marked by a set of large wrought iron gates, which creaked open with an unsettling groan as they approached. Beyond the gates lay a long, winding driveway leading to the manor's front steps, flanked by decaying statues of mythical creatures. Emily, examining the gates, said, "The tome mentioned that Ravenswood House is protected by an illusion. We need to be cautious as we approach." Martha, focusing on the manor, added, "The illusion could be hiding traps or altering our perceptions. Stay close and keep your senses sharp." Alice, readying herself for any surprises, said, "Let's proceed slowly and be prepared for anything." Entering the manor, the trio found themselves in a grand foyer, its opulence now marred by years of neglect. Dust-covered chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting eerie shadows, and the once polished floors were now scuffed and dirty. The air was thick with the scent of mildew and decay. Emily, studying the foyer, said, "This place must have been magnificent once. Now it's a shadow of its former self." Martha, examining the room, noted, "The illusion seems to be working in a different way. It's not just hiding things, but also affecting our perception of reality." Alice, noticing the intricate carvings on the walls, said, "Let's find the artifact quickly and avoid getting caught in any traps or illusions." They moved cautiously through the manor, each room presenting new challenges. The hallways twisted and turned in seemingly impossible ways, and rooms appeared to shift locations when they weren't looking. The illusions were designed to disorient and mislead, that testing their resolve and patience. After hours of navigating the confusing layout, they stumbled upon a hidden door concealed behind a large tapestry in the library. The library was filled with ancient books and scrolls, many of which were written in languages long forgotten. The hidden door was etched with arcane symbols that pulsed with a faint, eerie glow. Emily, examining the symbols, said, "This door is protected by powerful wards. We need to decipher these symbols to proceed." Martha, studying the symbols closely, added, "They seem to be related to protection and secrecy. We need to break the wards to open the door." Alice, using her knowledge of magical wards, worked with Martha to decipher the symbols. They carefully traced the patterns and chanted incantations to neutralize the wards. After a tense few minutes, the door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase leading down into the darkness. Descending the staircase, they entered a subterranean chamber that seemed to be an ancient vault. The chamber was lined with shelves filled with arcane relics and dusty tomes. At the center of the room was a pedestal with an ornate box resting on top. Emily, approaching the pedestal, said, "This must be it. The artifact should be inside this box." As they neared the box, a chilling wind swept through the chamber, and the temperature dropped significantly. Shadows began to swirl around them, coalescing into ghostly figures. Martha, sensing the growing threat, said, "The manor's defenses are activating. We need to act quickly." Alice, readying her equipment, added, "We need to retrieve the artifact and protect ourselves from these spirits." The spirits, restless and vengeful, advanced on them, their forms shifting and writhing in the dim light. Emily, Martha, and Alice prepared to defend themselves as they worked to open the box. With a final push, Emily opened the ornate box. Inside was a beautifully crafted amulet, similar to the one they had obtained from Black Hollow, but with different symbols and a different gem. The amulet emitted a powerful energy that seemed to resonate with the spirits around them. Emily carefully lifted the amulet, feeling its energy pulse. "This is the artifact. It's connected to the other amulet we found." As she held the artifact, the spirits seemed to react to its power. Sra. Their forms began to dissipate, and the oppressive atmosphere of the chamber lifted. The shadows retreated, and the chamber returned to its original state. Martha, observing the changes, said, "The artifact has a calming effect on the spirits. It must be linked to the manor's defenses." Alice, breathing a sigh of relief, added, "We've secured the artifact. Let's prepare to leave before more dangers arise." With the artifact in hand, the trio made their way back to the surface. The manor's illusions and traps seemed to have been neutralized, and the once confusing layout now appeared straightforward. They retraced their steps through the grand foyer and out the front gates. As they exited Ravenswood House, Emily looked back at the manor, its dark silhouette now a distant memory. "We've overcome the challenges of Ravenswood House and secured another artifact. We're one step closer to our goal." Martha, reflecting on their journey, added, "The manor's defenses were formidable, but we've managed to overcome them. We need to stay vigilant for the remaining trials." Alice, ready to continue their quest, said, "We've gained valuable insights and secured another artifact. Let's move forward and use our knowledge to prepare for the next challenge." Chapter 29. The Secrets of the Forgotten Library. Having secured the artifact from Ravenswood House, Emily, Martha, and Alice set their sights on the next destination. The tome had hinted at a forgotten library that housed crucial knowledge and possibly the next artifact. The library, known as the Lost Archive, was said to be hidden in the ruins of an ancient castle located in a remote and treacherous region. Their journey took them through rugged terrain and dense forests. As they approached the castle ruins, the weather grew more turbulent. Dark clouds loomed overhead, and the wind howled through the trees, creating an ominous backdrop for their mission. Emily, looking at the darkening sky, said, "The tome mentioned that the Lost Archive is protected by powerful enchantments. We need to be cautious as we approach the ruins." Martha, checking their surroundings, added, "The storm might be an indication that we're getting close. Let's stay alert and keep an eye out for any signs of danger." Alice, glancing at the map they had obtained from Ravenswood House, said, "According to this map, the entrance to the library should be hidden within the castle ruins. We need to find it and access the archive." The castle ruins were a grim sight. The once grand fortress had been reduced to crumbling walls and broken towers, with nature reclaiming the land. The castle's gatehouse, now a skeletal structure, loomed ahead, its archways darkened by age and decay. Emily, examining the ruins, said, "We need to find the entrance to the Lost Archive. The map should help us locate it." Martha, studying the map, noted, "The entrance is likely concealed. We need to look for any clues or hidden passages that could lead us to the archive." Alice, readying her equipment, said, "Let's search the gatehouse first. It might hold the key to finding the entrance." As they explored the gatehouse, they discovered a series of symbols etched into the stone walls. The symbols appeared to be part of a puzzle or code. Emily and Martha began to decipher the symbols, while Alice kept watch for any potential threats. After hours of examining the symbols, Emily and Martha managed to decipher the code. It revealed the location of a hidden passage beneath the gatehouse. They located a concealed trapdoor covered by debris and used their combined strength to pry it open. The trapdoor revealed a narrow staircase descending into the darkness. The air was thick with dust, and the faint glow of their lanterns illuminated the staircase's ancient stone steps. Emily, leading the way, said, "This must be the passage to the lost archive. Let's proceed carefully." Martha, holding her staff ready, added, "Stay close and be prepared for any surprises. The enchantments protecting the archive could be powerful." Alice, guiding their descent, said, "We're getting closer to the library. Let's keep moving and stay alert." At the base of the staircase, they entered a vast subterranean chamber. The room was filled with rows of towering bookshelves, each laden with ancient tomes and scrolls. The air was musty and heavy with the scent of old parchment and leather. The walls of the library were adorned with intricate carvings and arcane symbols, and the ceiling was supported by grand columns. In the center of the room stood a large, ornate desk with a faded map spread across its surface. Emily, surveying the library, said, "This place is incredible. We need to find the relevant sections and locate the artifact or any clues related to it." Martha, examining the carvings, added, "The carvings might provide insight into the library's enchantments. We need to be cautious." Alice, inspecting the desk and map, said, "This map could be a key to accessing hidden sections of the library. Let's see if it leads us to the artifact." As they delved into the library, they encountered a series of magical barriers and puzzles. The enchantments created shifting walls and illusions, making it difficult to navigate the labyrinthine shelves. The library seemed to come alive, shifting and changing in response to their movements. Emily and Martha used their knowledge of arcane symbols to decipher the enchantments and unlock hidden passages. They encountered numerous challenges, including animated books that attempted to ensnare them and spectral guardians that sought to protect the library's secrets. Alice used her skills to manage the magical barriers, providing crucial support as they navigated the maze. They discovered a series of hidden compartments containing important texts and relics that revealed the library's history and the nature of its enchantments. After overcoming the maze and its enchantments, they arrived at a hidden chamber within the library. The chamber was filled with ancient scrolls and a large pedestal at its center. On the pedestal rested an ornate box, similar to the one they had found in Ravenswood House. Emily approached the box with caution, feeling a sense of familiarity. "This looks like the artifact we're looking for. The tome mentioned that it would be here." As Emily opened the box, a radiant light filled the chamber, and a powerful energy emanated from within. The artifact was a beautifully crafted crystal orb, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light. Martha, observing the orb, said, "This artifact is unlike anything we've encountered so far. Its energy is immense." Alice, studying the orb, added, "We need to be careful. The artifact's power could attract unwanted attention or trigger additional defenses." As they retrieved the orb, the library's enchantments activated and the magical barriers reappeared. The shifting walls and illusions intensified, creating a chaotic and disorienting environment. Emily, holding the orb tightly, said, "We need to find a way out before the enchantments overwhelm us." Martha, focusing on the carvings, added, "There must be a pattern or key to deactivating the enchantments. We need to work together to find it." Alice, guiding them through the maze, said, "Let's follow the map's clues and navigate our way out. We can't afford to get trapped here." They used their combined knowledge and skills to navigate through the maze, deactivating the enchantments and avoiding the library's defenses. Their teamwork and perseverance allowed them to escape the shifting labyrinth and return to the surface. Emerging from the ruins, Emily, Martha, and Alice took a moment to catch their breath. The storm had subsided, and the castle ruins were bathed in the light of the setting sun. Emily, reflecting on their experience, said, "The Lost Archive was a formidable challenge, but we've secured the artifact and gained valuable knowledge." Martha, feeling a sense of accomplishment, added, The enchantments were powerful, but our teamwork allowed us to overcome them. We're one step closer to our goal. Alice, ready to continue their quest, said, "We've secured another artifact and uncovered important information. Let's prepare for the next challenge and continue our journey." With the artifact in hand and their resolve strengthened, the trio set off toward their next destination, prepared for the trials that lay ahead. Chapter 30. The Final Confrontation. With three powerful artifacts now in their possession, Emily, Martha, and Alice felt a renewed sense of urgency. The tome had provided them with a final clue pointing to the location of the Shadow's Sovereign, a foreboding fortress deep within a desolate mountain range. The fortress, known as the Obsidian Citadel, was rumored to be the stronghold of the dark entity they sought to confront. As they journeyed toward the Obsidian Citadel, the landscape grew increasingly bleak. The mountains towered ominously, their jagged peaks shrouded in perpetual clouds. The air was cold and thin, and a biting wind swept through the barren terrain. Emily, glancing at the darkening sky, said, "The tome indicated that the Obsidian Citadel is protected by powerful wards and dark magic. We need to be prepared for anything." Martha, feeling the cold seeping into her bones, added, "We've come this far. Let's stay focused and make sure we're ready for the final confrontation." Alice, checking their supplies, said, "We need to be strategic. The Shadow Sovereign will likely have formidable defenses. We need to use everything we've learned and acquired to our advantage." After days of trekking through the harsh landscape, the trio arrived at the base of the Obsidian Citadel. The fortress was a dark and imposing structure, built from black stone that seemed to absorb the light. Massive obsidian walls rose high into the sky, and sharp spires jutted from the towers, giving the citadel a menacing appearance. The entrance to the citadel was a large iron gate adorned with arcane symbols. The gate was closed, and dark energy crackled around it, indicating that it was protected by powerful enchantments. Emily, studying the gate, said, "The gate is heavily guarded by magic. We'll need to find a way to bypass these wards." Martha, examining the symbols, added, "The enchantments seem to be similar to those we've encountered before. We might be able to use our artifacts to counteract them." Alice, preparing for the challenge, said, "Let's work together to break through the wards and gain entry to the citadel." The trio used their combined knowledge and the artifacts they had acquired to neutralize the enchantments protecting the gate. With a final surge of magical energy, the gate creaked open, revealing a foreboding courtyard within the citadel. The courtyard was filled with dark, swirling mists and flickering torches that cast eerie shadows. The air was thick with a sense of malevolence, and the ground seemed to pulse with dark energy. The citadel's interior was shrouded in darkness, with only the occasional burst of fiery light from torches illuminating the path ahead. Emily, leading the way, said, "We need to navigate through this courtyard and find our way to the citadel's inner sanctum. That's where the Shadow Sovereign will likely be." Martha, sensing the dark energy, added, "We should be on the lookout for traps and magical defenses. The Shadow Sovereign will have set up numerous obstacles to protect themselves." Alice, ready for the confrontation, said, "Let's stay close and be prepared for any surprises. We need to reach the inner sanctum and end this threat." As they moved through the courtyard, they encountered various defenses set up by the Shadow Sovereign. Animated statues and dark creatures emerged from the shadows, attacking them with dark magic and physical assaults. Emily, using her artifact, created barriers to deflect the attacks, while Martha used her staff to channel powerful spells to counter the dark creatures. Alice utilized her agility and combat skills to fend off the enemies and protect her companions. Despite their best efforts, the enemies seemed endless, and the dark energy within the citadel was overwhelming. The trio pressed on, determined to reach their goal despite the mounting challenges. After overcoming numerous defenses, they finally reached the inner sanctum of the citadel. The room was vast and imposing, its walls lined with dark, shimmering runes. At the center of the room stood the Shadow Sovereign, a dark figure cloaked in shadows, with eyes glowing like fiery coals. The Shadow Sovereign, with a voice that echoed like a chilling wind, said, "So you have come to challenge me. Do you truly believe you can defeat me and claim the power of the artifacts?" Emily, holding the three artifacts, said, We've come to end your reign of darkness and restore balance. Your tyranny ends here. Martha, raising her staff, added, We've faced many trials and gathered the artifacts to confront you. We will not falter now. Alice, readying her weapons, said, Prepare yourself. We're here to stop you, no matter what it takes. The final battle was fierce and intense. The Shadow Sovereign unleashed torrents of dark magic, summoning shadows and dark creatures to aid in the fight. The room was filled with flashes of dark energy and the clash of magic and steel. Emily, Martha, and Alice fought valiantly, using their artifacts and skills to counter the Shadow Sovereign's attacks. The artifacts' combined power created barriers of light that pushed back the darkness and weakened the Shadow Sovereign's defenses. Despite their efforts, the Shadow Sovereign's power was formidable, and the battle seemed to tip back and forth. The trio needed to find a way to break through the Sovereign's defenses and deal a decisive blow. Emily realized that the key to defeating the Shadow Sovereign lay in combining the powers of the artifacts they had collected. She channeled their combined energy into a powerful spell, using the artifacts to create a beacon of light that pierced through the darkness. The light engulfed the Shadow Sovereign, weakening their dark form and exposing their vulnerability. With a final concentrated effort, Emily, Martha, and Alice unleashed a devastating attack that shattered the Shadow Sovereign's defenses and dealt a critical blow. The Shadow Sovereign, with a final anguished cry, was consumed by the light, and their dark form dissipated into nothingness. The room was filled with a blinding flash of light, and the oppressive darkness lifted. With the Shadow Sovereign defeated, the Citadel's dark enchantments were lifted, and the room was bathed in a warm, golden light. The artifact's power had restored balance and dispelled the malevolent energy that had plagued the Citadel. Emily, Martha, and Alice stood together, their faces reflecting a mix of exhaustion and relief. The Citadel, now free from its dark curse, seemed to regain a sense of tranquility. Emily, looking around the now peaceful Citadel, said, We've done it. The Shadow Sovereign is defeated, and the artifacts have fulfilled their purpose. Martha, feeling a sense of accomplishment, added, Our journey has been long and challenging, but we've overcome every obstacle. The world is safer now because of our efforts. Alice, ready to move forward, said, We've completed our mission and restored balance. Let's prepare to return and share the news of our victory. As they left the Obsidian Citadel, Emily, Martha, and Alice were met with a world that had begun to heal from the darkness that had once threatened it. The once bleak and oppressive landscape now showed signs of renewal and hope. The trio's journey had been marked by trials and sacrifices, but their bravery and determination had led to a final victory over the forces of darkness. Their names became legendary, and their story was remembered as a tale of courage and unity. Emily, Martha, and Alice returned to their world, knowing that their actions had made a lasting impact. Their bond had grown stronger, and they had proven that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, light and hope could prevail. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share the video. See you next time.